Does lavender fit in a rustic style garden? And are ducks, geese and quails a good idea in such a garden? Good morning, my dear friends. Welcome to another garden as part of the Wow Garden 2026 project. Today we've come to a rustic style garden that's full of animals. We have geese, ducks, quails here, and of course a cat and a dog. And all of this comes together as a whole because this garden is only 14 meters wide. But it's very long, and you'll see how nicely it can be arranged. In a moment, my dear friends, we will meet the owner of this beautiful rustic garden, Olimpia, who will tell us the whole story of this place. And she will talk about certain elements in the garden that are, for her, absolute must-haves in a rustic garden like this. Hello, Olimpia. Hello. I'm very glad we made it to Olimpia's garden because I'm really curious about what can be found in your rustic garden.
I'm glad to and invite you to take a walk and look around.
We're going, and I have to tell you, we need to go there with Olimpia. We can't go alone because Olimpia's geese really don't like intruders. Before you show us around your beautiful garden, I'd like to hear the story of this place from you. How did you come to fall in love with rustic vibes? And was it like that from the very beginning, or did it come later?
My husband inherited this plot from his grandparents, and I always knew I wanted to live here because I grew up in the countryside, you know. And I knew I wanted to live in the countryside, but I was never really drawn to gardening. I told my husband, okay, we'll live in the countryside, that's for sure, but absolutely no flowers, just trees and shrubs.
And what happened?
Exactly.
How did it look from the very beginning?
Well, at first we really only planted trees and shrubs, but later, when our first daughter was born, and I'm already a photographer, I was always looking for some nice places to take pictures. So when our first daughter was born, I just thought, why should I go and look for places when we have such a space around us? And maybe I should start doing something here. So at first I started planting a bit randomly, just some first flowers. And then at first I was planting here by the house. And we just had behind the barn. It was just a field that someone was leasing, and I decided that we would just take that field, take it back from the lease, and I wanted to have a vegetable garden there, a little orchard, and a spot for photos, maybe a little meadow. Everything just kind of evolved bit by bit.
Bit by bit. And in the end, did the lavender field appear, a small one, or was it along the way?
Along the way, when we started working back there, there was a little orchard on one side, and on the other side I started coming up with ideas. And everyone kept saying it wouldn't turn out the way I imagined, you know? And I said, you'll see, this year that empty field will be full of flowers. And I sowed a meadow and lots of annual flowers like cosmos, sunflowers, and so on. And actually, and I was also planting dahlias back then, dahlias. And I really had a whole strip full of flowers. And everyone who came by said they couldn't believe I actually managed to do it. It looked like, well, kind of like...
Like a transformation like that?
A quick one. Like, as if she, who never wanted anything to do with the garden, never worked in the garden, suddenly decided she would have a whole garden full of flowers. And really, that's when I told my husband that I would love to have a lavender field. That's my dream, you know? It's like for the future. And my husband then said, order the lavender and I'll make that field for you. So here it is, here it is.
That's great. In a moment we'll go see, among other things, that lavender field. And you'll tell us a bit more about the animals you have here.
Oh, yeah, sure.
said your dream was to have a small lavender field like this. And it happened. Yes. When did it happen?
5 years ago.
And how did you work here from the very beginning so that it could grow? Because you have a solution here that I haven't seen before.
My husband came up with the idea because, you know, lavender, I mean the roots of lavender, they don't like to stand in water. So he thought we should plant the lavender on raised beds, on little hills, like you do with strawberries. Yeah.
Potatoes too, in those ridges, those furrows.
Right. And he made those mounds for me, right? Those mounds. Actually, it was the neighbor who made them with a tractor. We put landscape fabric on top of that.
And then they're planted and...
Lavenders are planted.
And how do you take care of them to make them look like this? Do you use any special treatments during the season?
I think the most important thing you can do after planting lavender is pruning.
So we prune right away, yes.
I had very small starter plants. When I saw those little plants, I mean, I ordered the smallest ones, but I didn't think they would be that tiny. They were really tiny. We planted them and pruned them every 2 weeks.
Okay.
We pruned them every 2 weeks throughout the first year.
Wait, listen, we'll show you because you also had some lavender a bit further over there. Yes. And what happened to it? Why isn't it there anymore?
It was killed by frost. That's because this is narrow-leaved lavender, Beate, and over there it was grosso lavandin.
So the one with those long stems.
And honestly, I didn't like it from the beginning because I was thinking about how it would look in photos.
And here the color is more concentrated, I think. Yes.
It is. I mean, it's not blooming yet at this point. It's still in buds. When it blooms, it's just pure purple, and it's simply perfect for photos. But that one, not so much. I didn't really like that one in particular.
It froze this year, so you chose to plant a new one.
Yes, but this year,
Now
I'll just plant narrow-leaved lavender. There's no need anymore.
we'll show you in a moment what this mound looks like with trimmed lavender. Yes. And if you want to see more shots with lavender, Olimpia runs her own Instagram. What's it called?
Sielski warsztat.
Sielski warsztat. Go check it out. Check out the cool shots and I'll probably show you how this lavender develops further. Yes. Then it will have this amazing purple color. You said that your garden has different zones, including a vegetable patch? Yes? And a zone with cut flowers, since that'll probably be there too? Do you take special care of these plants? Do you feed them in any way?
Yes, some of them.
Well, some of them, yes. Especially for you, from our next partner, from the company Sumin, I brought these fertilizers from the Mock-up Fitoshchi series, and they work great for feeding flowering plants as well as edible plants. This is just the beginning. However, a package with more is already on its way to you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It will definitely come in handy.
Olimpia, the area you have here, as I mentioned, is only 14 meters wide. That's why it's very important when we want to arrange such an area to create sequences like that, like rooms. What does that look like in your garden? Do you do it that way too?
Yes. We have 2 birch groves. One is over there at the beginning and the other one is here where we're sitting now. An orchard with a strip of, let's say, perennial plants. And the lavender field, of course, yes.
The vegetable garden along the way.
The vegetable garden, yes. Oh, right after leaving the barn.
Anything else? Some perennials show up there too.
right? Yes, we have those. Well, for example, there will be dahlias there now.
So what will come later, right? Yes, what will bloom later?
In late summer.
Yes.
The place I have for
Flowers. This place where we are sitting is at the end of the plot. Yes. You said that this is your husband's little corner. Yes.
So if I couldn't find him anywhere, I knew he was right here at the end. Before, now we've moved the bed here, but before there was an armchair here, and he always used to sit in that armchair because it was so quiet here, right? You could listen to the birds. The birds are singing.
Yes, yes. And it's also worth noting that when you create places like this, these little groves, today it's really hot, but here you feel like it's a few degrees cooler, right? Yes, so that's important too. And listen, when you plant trees in the garden, even in larger clusters, of course it's a shelter for animals, and there are a lot of animals here, and we'll get to them in a moment.
Because honestly, from the very beginning, besides wanting to have those photo corners, my goal was also to create a garden that's friendly to bees and birds. And for other animals too. For example, we also had hedgehogs, which is why, for example, we have that wild rose hedge. That's where we find them later on in the winter. You can see that there were bird nests, and they also have food there. So that was also a kind of marker.
Yes.
This garden is meant to be animal friendly.
In my mind, I have this image of a rural rustic garden, and that's exactly the kind of garden that feeds us and provides shelter for animals. And one that also looks very nice. So that's how it is.
Yes.
I haven't asked Olimpia yet if she relaxes in this garden, but I assume that sometimes she does. That's why I brought a few gifts from our other partner, from Allegro, including a hanging chair like this one. I hope you'll find a moment to at least sit on it. Here you go.
I definitely will, and so will the kids.
The kids for sure, but let's make sure it's also nice to work out here. So here's what we have. An irrigation system. Maybe it'll help a bit, shorten the time you spend in the garden, and most importantly, it'll save some water, because sometimes the plants really do need watering. And it's a great thing. If you don't know it, there's this plant tying tool. It works really well because it quickly secures tomatoes, cucumbers, grapevines. Here you go.
This will be very useful. Thank you.
If you're planning to make large purchases of garden products, remember that on Allegro you can use Allegro Pay, which allows you to pay, for example, in 30 days or split the payment into convenient installments. You mentioned fruit trees. In a truly rustic country-style garden, I imagine that there are fruit trees. How is it in your case? Why did you plant those trees?
Because we have children, and children love fruit. When they were little, they would just walk around the whole garden looking for fruit.
So something to eat, yes.
So we just started planting everything. We have a lot of fruit bushes and trees, a whole orchard, right? So they'd have something to snack on.
But it's quite unusual because we're actually in a kind of passage, in a tunnel like this. And you have this tunnel set up so that on one side it's actually closed and on the other side to the south they're all open. Was it intentional, or is it because the plot is so narrow?
Well, it's partly because the plot is narrow, so we wanted to fit everything in, right? And the idea for this passage itself, the idea for this passage is my husband's. He came up with this tunnel idea, and here he trims everything evenly, both the trees and the larches, because he also wanted to plant larches. So that's how it is.
Yes, that's how it turned out from his ideas. Yes, that's how the idea came about. Exactly. Maybe the viewers also have such places. So write to us if anyone has an area like this made with fruit trees that creates a tunnel. My dear friends, as I mentioned, in every garden there's always something extra that comes in handy. That's why we're bringing gifts from our partners. We're here by the trellis with a planter from Jagram, which we brought for you. Tell me, do you already have an idea for this planter with a trellis?
Yes, I do. I wanted to cover the pump that's here with something, and this planter will be perfect.
Yeah, because it pretty much covers it completely. And what are you going to plant here? Do you have an idea yet?
Definitely clematis. There's something else there. We'll see if anything shows up.
Right, so when we come next time, it'll already be planted. Great, we'll hold you to your word and we'll see what has appeared here. My dear friends, if you have any wishes for your garden and you want to introduce wood into your garden, this is a great way and a great time to do it. That's because Jagram has a 10% discount for you. All you need to do is click the link in the description of this video or enter the code Hubert10 on Jagram's website when making your purchase. Olimpia, animals in the garden, around the house. I get the feeling that's a huge topic for you, but tell us, what animals do you currently have? The ones you know about, because there are probably a few you don't even know about.
Well, first of all, I have ducks, and they are Indian runners and khaki Campbells.
Khaki Campbells are the smaller ones.
Yeah, those are the tiny ones, yes.
The Indian runners are the upright ones.
They're the vertical ones. Okay, geese.
Well, we know geese because the geese already made almost a circle. Honk, honk.
It's watching all the time here. And also quails.
Quails, yes. And the cat?
The dog. And the dog, yes.
Yes, and lots of birds, which no one knows how many there are or where they are.
Well, I sometimes take photos there, so I know some of the species more or less.
They show up, I see them. Where did the idea for animals, for ducks, even come from? Because you said at first you just wanted to have the basics.
Yes, mainly because a few years ago we had an outbreak of snails. And it got to the point that after it rained, when you walked outside, there were basically only snails everywhere.
And you were walking on those snails?
Right? It was so disgusting. I didn't want to go outside here at all. And all the seedlings I had, when I planted them in the ground, they ate them all. It just made me want to cry because everything was going to waste, right?
What happened next? The runner ducks showed up, right?
And that's when I started thinking about the runner ducks. And at first, 4 of them appeared. I mean, actually 5.
And how many do you have now?
Runner ducks, 11.
11. And do they handle the snails?
They manage. I have no snails.
Well, I have to admit that's true, because we came here and there are no snails. And how do you deal with the droppings? Because, you know, there are different opinions, like generally they don't make a terrible mess and so on. How does it look?
This year, we set up a safe zone free from droppings, because especially the geese love to sit on our stairs, so we couldn't even get into the house. And we just decided that we would separate that area.
That area is large since the entire garden is for the animals.
The house area is actually very small. Oh, okay. Yes, small. And here, well, the geese and ducks have a huge, huge space because there's this area here and 1,400 square meters behind the barn.
And how do you deal with the fact that, for example, foxes might eat a duck like that? Because it does happen, right?
Yes. The ducks are locked in the duck house and the aviary at night. I mean, they have a passage from the duck house to the aviary, so they can go back and forth, but at night they're locked in.
And how does calling them work? Do they come on their own?
They come on their own. They come on their own. Yes, when it gets dark, they come on their own. In the summer months, sometimes we have to hurry them a bit to get them inside faster. But for example, when it's a bit cooler, they're already inside at exactly 4 o'clock.
So that's saying that someone goes to bed with the chickens also applies to ducks. When it's 4 o'clock and it's already getting dark, it's like night for them.
In winter, they come in. In summer, they'd stay out all the time, but still come in. Mine listen to me and know they're locked up for the night.
Trained? Yes. Geese too?
Geese too, yes. For example, geese prefer to sleep in the aviary, not in the duck house, but the aviary is also completely secured, so nothing can get in, so they just have a safe space there to sleep.
My dear friends, and to finish up, because we have a tradition this season, quick questions and answers, just rapid fire. So, first question for you, life in the countryside, or do you ever think about living in the city?
Definitely in the countryside. We lived in the city for a few years, so it's not just the countryside for us.
So, since you already live in the countryside, I'd like you to choose, are you more into geese or ducks?
That's a tough question, but I think ducks.
You think ducks? Well,
Although the difference is really minimal, honestly.
and another question, do you prefer edible, useful plants or maybe ornamental ones?
That's a difficult question too, because I like edible plants, the ones with edible flowers as well, but I also have a lot of ornamental ones, so it's half and half, yes, exactly. Ornamental ones maybe more for photos.
And the next question, if you're working in the garden 6 a.m. or 9 p.m.?
If I had to choose, definitely 9 p.m. because I'm more of a night person, but that's when I put the kids to bed, so yes.
I'd rather do it in the evening, but it ends up being in the morning. If you had to choose, would you prefer to have the whole garden watered automatically, or do you actually like standing there with the hose and watering it yourself?
I choose automatic watering because now my husband is also setting it up for me slowly.
So you'd rather do something besides water the garden? In many gardens, or actually in every garden, it's usually never finished and there's always something you'd like to do. Do you have a place you'd like to remodel or something you'd like to add to this garden?
I do. We're standing in one of those places. We want to make a terrace here.
A terrace? Okay, do you already know how you want it to look?
More or less, but not completely yet.
Not completely yet, so maybe that's actually a question for our viewers. Listen, here you have this part of the house in front of which there will be a terrace. Let us know what you think. What color should the terrace be? Should it be raised or on the ground? Or maybe with some distinctive features?
It will definitely be raised.
Oh, because it's higher and by the door. You don't need to write that now.
Of course, but I'm still unsure about the color.
Maybe in some style? Let us know, exactly. My dear friends, we've already shown you most of the shots from this garden, but we saved something for this summer visit. So if you want to stay up to date and don't want to miss this episode, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments if you like this garden. It's always a huge support when you leave comments for our participants. We'll see each other during this summer visit. Thank you very much. Thank you. And remember, you can also check out Olimpia's profile on Instagram. What's it called?
Sielski warsztat.
Sielski Warsztat. See you.